Hello and welcome to the Daily Millwall for Wednesday the 17th of February 2021. Today was match day. We played Birmingham City at the 10 and we won 2-0. And we're going to jump into the match report from skysports.com. And here we go. You can see there. Millwall won 2-0. Gary Rowett Aitor scored in the 3rd minute after a poor back pass from one of their defenders who Gary Rowett snuck in there and nicked it before the keeper could get to it and just jabs it into the net. And Ben Thompson scoring in the 75th minute, so that was 2-0 to Birmingham City. And it seems like it was an easy win. It wasn't an easy win, it was a hard win. We played really badly, but we rode our luck. And the pitch wasn't good, players were falling over. Not just Ryan Woods, but other players as well. And an injury as well. Another injury to a massive player, Jay Cooper, and we'll get more into that later on. But let's have a look at this. This is from skysports.com. This is the match report. It says Millwall 2 to Birmingham 0. Lions see off relegation threat and Blues. Yep. So let's go down to the actual report. I'm going to read it now. Birmingham remain in relegation trouble in the Championship after Millwall claimed a 3rd consecutive win with a 2-0 victory at the Den. An early Jed Wallace goal put the hosts in their ascendancy, and Ben Thompson's tap-in after 75 minutes made sure of the 3 points as Millwall continued to climb the table. The hosts could not believe their luck when after just 2 minutes, a Birmingham mix-up allowed Wallace to beat Neil Etheridge off his goal line and poke the ball into an empty net. It would have been easy for Blues, who came into the game above only Wickham in the table, so they're 23rd in the league, to lose faith after that, but Aitor Karanka's side steadied the ship and shared possession with the Lions for the opening exchanges. Skipper Harley Dean had a chance to level things up after 12 minutes when a corner dropped to him, but he lashed it wide via deflection. Millwall boss Gary Rowett will have been disappointed to see Jay Cooper leave the field with a shoulder injury after just 22 minutes, as he was replaced by Alex Pearce. And you can see there, let's have a stop here and reading, you can see the team there. Bielkowski, Cooper, Hutch, Evans, Romeo, Thompson, Woods, Malone. But what actually happened, so when Cooper went off injured, Evans moved to the left hand side. He was playing well up until then. When he went to that left hand side, he didn't play too well. But Hutchinson moved to the right and he started playing good as well. So I think there must be a thing that when you're playing the right hand side of the 3 centre backs, you play well for some reason. I don't know, maybe. But Evans, the left centre back, didn't look all that. But when Hutchinson was moved out to the right, he looked really good. Yeah, you can see Matt Smith came off, Jed Wallace came off, Bennett came off, Thompson came off, Cooper came off. Romeo and Woods got booked, and let's carry on reading. Moments later, Matt Smith got on the end of a Marlon Romeo cross, but could not direct his powerful header on target. Blues' best chance to level things up before the break fell to Dean after Bartosz Bielkowski completely miscued his punch, but once again his efforts sailed high and wide. The Lions should have doubled their lead in the 56th minute when Smith broke the line and squared for Mason Bennett, but Scott Malone got there first and forced a save from Etheridge. When Smith looked certain to tap in the follow-up, Dean was there to make a vital block with his hand. He handballed it on the line, and it was so quick because he was diving. He didn't do it standing up; he was diving into it. That when he hit the deck, he grabbed his face, and the linesman and the ref bought it. And Matt Smith didn't see it because he wasn't demonstrating. He wasn't claiming it because the goalkeeper blocked his vision between him and the guy on the line. So he didn't see it, he didn't claim up for it. And before, the only one who claimed up, I think, was Malone, and no one else. And then like everyone else was looking at him like, what? So it only seemed like Malone and Dean himself was the ones who saw the handball. So there you go. Birmingham eventually forced their first shot on target when Lucas Djukovic stung the palm of Biakowski before a handball by the striker brought the attack to a premature end. But Rowett's side killed the game after 75 minutes when centre-back Sean Hutchinson broke free down the right flank and sent a perfect cross into the path of Thompson to finish from point-blank range. Yeah, Hutchinson. He was bombing down the right flank and crossed it in like he was playing like Jed Wallace, putting a cross in. Decent as well. Just normally when our players play, when they cross it, they try and find someone. But Hutchinson, like after all that running, he just thought, oh, sod this, I'm just put it in the area. And when you do that, someone's gonna get there. And Ben Thompson got there and he got the goal. When you just try and find a player, then the opposition know where it's going because they think, oh, you're going to pass to the player. And they're marking players. What do you do in football? You mark the player, you get goal side of them. So if you pass it to the player, they can intercept the ball or tackle them. But if you play it into space, who marks space? Only like top teams in the Premier League mark space. It's sort of like became fashionable at one time for them, instead of man marking, zonal marking. But most English players didn't know what the hell that was. And I don't think in the Championship ain't no team zonal marking, especially not on a counter attack break. They might at a corner, but they're not on a counter attack. So just when you're running down the wing, just ping the ball in there. Anyway, let's carry on. Jonathan Lico did eventually get the ball over the line for the Blues in added time, but he was ruled offside as Karanka's men remain in 23rd. 1 point from safety after a third consecutive loss. What I will say is Birmingham City could have had 2 red cards there, because that Djukovic, he went through the back of Ben Thompson, studs on his calf, and the ref, for some reason, blew up his whistle. See, it was bad, but then only gave you a yellow card. It's like you saw the incident, you saw how bad it was, but you're just giving the guy a yellow card. And of course, like I mentioned before, the Harley Dean, like handballing the ball off the line, and no one saw it. I'm not a fan of VAR. I don't want VAR, but if we had VAR, that would have been a red card. And we would have had a penalty. But anyway, let's carry on reading this from SkySports.com. It says, what the manager said. Millwall's Gary Rowett. I thought it was a poor performance in certain ways for most of the game. Yes, it was. I think a marker was laid down in the first 30 seconds when Birmingham central defender smashed it 100 yards back to us, and it didn't get much better than that. I thought that when we got into the final third, Birmingham would be nervous. The goal comes from a defender under hitting a back pass. Jed gambles, and that is the sort of thing that happens to you when you're down there and haven't won many games. So it was a good start for us, but I thought after that Birmingham were better than us. We didn't pass the ball with any fluidity, and that meant we couldn't get out and attack like we wanted to. We've won 4 and drawn 3 now against some excellent sides, Norwich City and Watford included. And the players have shown what they are all about with a really good run of results. And I've got a quote here from the Birmingham manager as well. I'm going to read that. It says, I don't need to look at the table because it's just a reflection of your job on the pitch. Why am I going to look at the table if we are not winning games? We have to look at ourselves, our work, and to keep believing because we have been really good this season. The only way I know is to keep working, to go to the training ground tomorrow and start preparing for the next game. One little mistake has cost us a lot tonight because of the position we are in at the moment. To concede a goal like that after 2 minutes is difficult to take. In a normal situation after that, it would look like a team was going to go down, but we were really good and we were in the game, but we didn't defend well. Last week I said I wasn't happy with the performance, but today I can't say anything bad because the players were fighting till the final whistle. Birmingham, could you say Birmingham were a better team? I think, yeah, probably they were, because as usual we do this a lot in our games now, is we don't play possession football, we play attacking football. So we let the opposition team have a lot of the ball. And you could think that's why if we get unlucky, doing that could be bad for us in terms of chances created and stuff like that. But we genuinely get lucky doing that. It doesn't seem that much of a problem because at this level there aren't teams that can do a lot with the ball when you give them possession. They either pass it around themselves at the back, or they just go through pre-planned plays, pre-programmed sort of formations and moves that they do. So you can tell what's coming. If the guy's got the ball on the right wing, you know where he's going to pass it to, what he's going to do, because you've watched video and you've seen them do that before. So it's like, okay, you have the ball, we know what you're going to do with it. You're not going to pull any tricks out. You're not going to do anything. There's no magical players in the Championship who are going to surprise you with what they do. So anyway, so that was the match report from SkySports.com. We're going to move on now to some more words from Gary Rowett. Some of them we've already heard in seen below, but some extra ones here. This is from news@10.co.uk. This is Millwall boss Gary Rowett far from satisfied despite first in his reign against Birmingham City. I don't know what that means. That headline doesn't make much sense. First win in his reign against Birmingham City. Did they miss that word there? Anyway, it says Millwall won 3 league games in a row for the first time under Gary Rowett. Oh, I think they mean first, like a first achievement. He's unlocked an achievement. Yeah. I think that's what that was supposed to mean. It says Mill won 3 league games in a row for the first time under Gary Rowett, but the Lions boss was far from satisfied after the Lions defeated Birmingham 2-0 on a Wednesday night. Jed Wallace and Ben Thompson scored in either half to extend Mill's unbeaten run to 7 games. And Rowett said, "I'm pleased with the result, but it was a poor performance in certain ways on the ball for most of the game." So for 10 to 15 minutes when we got into the final third, I felt Birmingham would be nervous as team near the bottom. The goal comes from it. Mason wins a flick. Jed gambles after the defender under his back pass, which is the sort of thing that happens to you when you're down there and you've won many games. It was a good start, but after that, if I'm being honest, I thought they were much better than us without causing us too many clear-cut problems. Dean's stepping past our forwards and getting onto the right-hand side position, putting balls into the box, just meant we couldn't get out. Because we didn't pass the ball with any fluidity, we couldn't get out and pass the ball like we wanted to. That's always a challenge when you play that formation. They changed the formation to match us up and it became a bit of a stalemate. Sometimes that's when you need a little bit of quality, someone to do something to break the deadlock, and we couldn't do that. Second half we were a bit better, but not massively. I thought we were better when we changed formation to a 3 in midfield when Billy Mitchell came on. We started to win things. We should have had a penalty, a clear-cut penalty. I'm disappointed the officials didn't see it. That's happened quite a lot this season. The substitutions, I thought they were a bit late coming from Gary Rowett today. Matt Smith was the front three of Wallace, Smith and Bennett was starting to tire, and that meant that when we did lump it forward to Matt Smith, there was no one around him to get the ball from the knockdowns of the second, pick up the second balls. So I think that they should have brought in some fresh legs a lot earlier than he did. So we won 2-0, good result. There you can see on the right hand side here. Let me just bring that up. We are in 11th now. 11th. That is a long way from the bottom of the table now. So played 30 games, 41 points. We're effectively 9 points from safety because the 50-point mark is the bar every season generally. Although it's usually under that, but 50 is generally considered to be the benchmark of staying up, and we're 3 wins away from that now, with 16 games left. So, are we mathematically safe? No, but we're pretty certainly safe now. There's a lot of worse teams below us who could get dragged into it, and I think Wickham, the team we're playing next on Saturday, are more or less down anyway. They've been outclassed in quality. They're a small team. in this league, smaller than us even, and we're pretty small in this league. But a lot of teams are, a lot of fans are getting carried away now and talking about the playoffs, but we've got some wicked injuries, and another injury is Jake Cooper dislocated his shoulder again. Here we go. This here we can see it says Millwall defender Jake Cooper suffers fresh shoulder dislocation, with bad news for striker Ken Zahor as well. It says Jake Cooper has suffered a second dislocation of his right shoulder, with Millwall manager Gary Rowett fearing it is worse than an initial injury. And the Lions boss also reckons we will be without striker Ken Zahor for a period too, as the amount of players in the treatment room begins to mount up again. Cooper's withdrawal 20 minutes into tonight's 2-0 win over Birmingham City was a negative for Rowett. The big centre-back landed awkwardly as he attacked the set piece. The former Reading man actually suffered a dislocation in the first fixture against the Blues, but it had been hoped that surgery could be put off until the close season. The Lions were also without Mikel Keftenbeld, Ryan Lillard, Conor Mahoney, Sean Williams and Murray Wallace. It looks like Cooper, has dislocated the same shoulder again in a slightly different place, said Rowett. It's probably worse. It's really disappointing. I'll probably find out over the next few days what the prognosis is. But having Ken Zahor out, who looks like he'll be out for a little period now, we've had some key injuries recently. It's going to stretch us. There are a lot of games and we're going to get stretched. We've got a small squad. Certainly at the moment, some of these injuries are really damaging to us. And yeah, what happens when you dislocate your shoulder? When it pops out, it usually does some damage on the way out. Sometimes that's to the tendons, to the nerves, and sometimes even to the bone. It might like chip a little bit off now. So what happens is, if you don't get surgery on that, it's going to keep happening. It's going to keep popping out, and it's really painful. I'm going to show you this now. This is from sportsinjuryclinic.net. It's all about a dislocated shoulder. So you can see there, dislocated shoulder occurs when a humerus bone is displaced forwards out of the joint. So the humerus bone is the arm bone, and it pops out of the joint now. The blue thing, it's supposed to sit in it, and it pops out. It can pop out forwards, downwards, or sideways. Yeah. So you can see. What did I want to show you? Yeah, you can see here. So anterior dislocation, it pops out sideways. Posterior pops out, it's like straight out, forwards. Shoulder joint is particularly prone to injury due to the large range of movement available. The increased range of movement sacrifices joint stability. Shoulder dislocations occur when the head of the humerus bone pops out the shoulder joint. Now, usually either posterior or anterior dislocations. Most injuries are anterior, so the one in the middle side of it is on 95% injuries. The head of the humerus bone dislocates forwards and comes out of the joint. They occur when the arm is out to the side and rotated outwards. Most shoulder dislocations also cause tears to the glenoid labrum. This is a ring of cartilage which acts like a cup in which the humerus bone rests. This is known as a Bangar lesion. They are also associated with axillary nerve injury, especially if there is any impaired sensation over the outside of the outside of the shoulder. So it says there, the glenoid labrum. So when you for the very first time, get a dislocation, it causes a tear to the thing that's supposed to hold your shoulder in. So that weakens the whole thing, and it can just pop out any time then. Which I don't know if you've seen, what was that movie, Lethal Weapon 2? Or Lethal Weapon? Where the Mel Gibson character keeps dislocating his shoulder, and to put it back in, he runs into the wall and smashes his shoulder into the wall. I don't think Jake Cooper's going to be doing that, but you need to have surgery. I'm going to come down here. What does it say? Stop play immediately and seek medical attention. It is likely you will not have a choice about this, as a dislocated shoulder is very painful. The doctor will need to confirm the shoulder is dislocated and put it back into its socket. Yep, apply ice for 15 minutes every hour to help with pain and swelling. Put a sling on to take the weight off your arm. Surgery. If surgery is indicated, it is usually performed as soon as possible after the injury. Now, what happened was, when Jake Cooper first had his dislocated shoulder, he rested it, he missed a few games, but he probably should have had a surgery. But the reason he didn't was because we were in proper trouble. We were like staring down relegation. So he toughed it up. He felt better and he came back in and played. And he's got another. Now it's happened again, and he needs surgery. Seeing as we're on 41 points, 9 points away from almost certainly being mathematically safe, he needs to get a surgery. He needs to go now, get a surgery, do it. If that means we play Hayden Muller, Junior Tenzia, whatever. We've got George Evans, Ryan Leonard's out, Sean Williams can play probably in a back three. If that's what we need to do, that's what we need to do. But you know, if we got some youngsters there that can fill in for a while. Let's do it. So it says, in particular, evidence also suggests that young active adults between the ages of 15 and 25 would benefit from surgical reduction for a first-time anterior dislocation. The recurrence rate and quality of life outcomes appear to be better than for non-surgical reduction. So what it says is, if you're a young person and you have a dislocation, then you need the surgery, because there's a chance that if you don't, it's going to be bad for you in the long term. It says there are a number of procedures which can be performed. The decision over which procedure to use depends largely on the patient's lifestyle and activity. Some procedures result in reduced shoulder external rotation, so are not suitable for athletes involved in throwing or racket sports, as this would affect performance. It says, unfortunately, recurrent dislocations are frequent, especially in younger athletes. Often arthroscopic surgery is done to investigate the damage done or to stabilise your joint. If the Bankart lesion is found, then this should be repaired. The chance of suffering another dislocated shoulder is reduced to less than 5% following a surgical repair. So, like we read earlier, Bankart lesion was that thing. What was it called? Glabnum? What was it called? Labrum. Glenoid labrum. So, when you damage the glenoid labrum and you tear it, that gives you a Bankart lesion. If you don't get that repaired, then it says if you do get it repaired, then you've got a less than 5% chance of having another dislocated shoulder. So, if Jake Cooper would have had the surgery after the first time he got a dislocated shoulder, and then he probably is highly unlikely that it would happen again. But we needed him to play, or he didn't want a surgery. But he needs a surgery now. Unless he's scared of it or something, I don't know. But he needs the surgery. Yeah. I think that's basically it. So he should have had the surgery after the first dislocation. He didn't, because we needed him to play, because we were in a really bad way in the league, and it's happened again, and he can't put it off anymore. He needs to sit out for the rest of the season, go and get his surgery, and if they pin it or whatever they do, go in and glue the thing back up, whatever they do. Maybe he could get bloody what do they call it, stem cells, get some stem cells injected in there. I don't know, but I think Jay Cooper's season's finished. He needs surgery, and we're pretty much safe now. We've got Wickham, Luton in our next 2 games. We only need 3 more wins to be guaranteed safety, so go and get your surgery, Jake, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you come back next season. That's it from me for today. I'll be back tomorrow with a stats video about today's game. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.